Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Lou TV. It's Logie alongside Brandon, aka Furious. It is Wednesday, I guess, June 18th. We're gonna be talking MLB for tomorrow, Thursday, June 19th. How's everything going, man?
Going really well. Like everyone else, probably slammed at work for whatever reason, whatever people do during the summer, you're always amped up. It's tough to balance the DFS stuff with the work, especially when you're pulling long days. But yeah, I've still been paying attention. I noticed, I think the Royals, I don't know, I haven't checked in recently of what today, but they put up about 22 runs against our boy Chris K's Tigers, so that was pretty interesting to see.
Yeah, man. You know what? We've been doing this show every Wednesday, which is awesome. I love Wednesdays to do these shows, but I don't get a chance to be on with Chris as much as I'd like to. Especially since I was on with him a lot in the beginning. So I don't get to rag on Chris K and the Tigers, and equally I don't really get much about the Cubs back, especially since the Cubs are playing better. That's one thing, but yeah, I would like to have Chris on to rag on him a little bit, and that AL Central is kind of up for grabs there. The Tigers. The thing that really kind of really throws me off with the Tigers is that they're below 500 at home. I don't know. I don't know. It's just like a weird thing that normally teams play better at home. It's just like a thing, and I don't know for some reason. Oh well, but anyway, I don't know what's going on here. I just got a bunch of music in my ear for some reason. Anyway, though, yeah, we talked a little bit about the pre-show. We're both kind of busy, but still kicking the tires on some DFS. I know I've got some action in there tonight. Actually, didn't have much exposure to that game that got postponed. And that's something that we want to note, guys, that Brandon brought up before the show. That game getting postponed tonight between Cleveland and Los Angeles, it might throw a loop in kind of what we are going to be telling you for the game tomorrow. I'm not sure if there's already going to be a doubleheader or if it's just going to be the pitchers are bumped back or, so if there's any news on that you guys get throughout the show and you want to post it in chat and throw it out there for us to kind of tell everybody, tell the masses, then that would be great. I really appreciate that. But anyway, kind of take what we say on those games, I guess, with a grain of salt, just because of the possibilities of something changing there. But I guess if we're going to jump into stuff, which we probably should, Thursday, split slate like normal. The first game I have on my list happens to be that the Angels and Indians, which again tomorrow looks like that. Let's see, what is it? 12:05 Eastern start. It looks like there's going to be some rain concern there again tomorrow. Kind of what are your thoughts on this? I don't know if you have anything written down specifically on this game, either hitters or pitchers. I know it's a little bit difficult because we don't know if it's going to be Masterson and Wilson or if it's going to be the next two guys here. What are your thoughts? The next two, sorry. I guess I should let you guys know who that is. It'd be McAllister and Richards. So go ahead, though.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was looking at. I was looking at playing Cole Calhoun tonight, but with the cancellation of the game, I had faded him. It's like now I have a chance to play him again tomorrow. If they just bump the starters so that they're doing the early ones, then I definitely want some of the Calhoun Hamilton side for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean there. My dad was playing tonight, and I didn't take Hamilton or anything, but he had him in there, and he came. Dude, this is all. It happens every show. Like nobody. My house is so popular. Hey, I'm doing a show. See you later.
I love.
Sorry about that.
No, I love the on-air pickup. You should actually talk to him for at least 10 seconds or so to see what's really going on.
I
Just
didn't. I
they're
honestly.
on the air, just so you know.
I honestly didn't even look at the caller ID. I have no clue who it is. Hopefully, it wasn't important. Anyway, I didn't have any exposure to them, but my dad came storming out here when he saw that it was postponed, and he had Josh Hamilton. So
Yep.
anyway, it happens. I guess when we look at rain, we're a little more. We give a little more leeway to the hitters because it shouldn't really matter as much. But obviously, if it gets postponed, um, you know,
Hmm.
you lose everything that you could have had. But you can make up a zero in baseball, not from pitchers for the most part, but from hitters you can make up a zero. So let's say for instance that it is the new guys tomorrow. It's McAllister and Richards. Does that change things for you? What do you think there?
Definitely. I'd probably be playing a little more Richards. and I don't know. It doesn't change the Angels side of the bats for me because I'm still probably gonna rock Cole Calhoun and Josh Hamilton for sure. I don't know. They seem like really good plays tonight, and the cancellation tonight supposedly was a little suspect with just thunderstorms looming or weird stuff. So kind of dodged a bullet because I did really want to play him. So I'm just pretty psyched that we're gonna get probably possibly two shots tomorrow with these
Yeah,
guys.
you know what? I couldn't believe when my dad had told me it was postponed. It's 8:30 Eastern. That was a real quick hook. I didn't even honestly look at the forecast for later there or anything like that. But normally, they let these games go a little bit before they make a decision like that.
I
So
clicked on the little update to see what the weather was looking like, and it was showing scattered thunder showers from like 10 to midnight. So I had the guys in my lineup to begin with. Like that one was really deceiving, but I think we got to try to capitalize off it tomorrow somehow because we missed it tonight. But hopefully people just didn't get super burned by it either.
right, right. Well, hopefully at least our viewers didn't get super burned by it. The guys you're playing hopefully did. I
Yeah.
guess we should put it like that. Anyway, though, if we're gonna move on, to the Pittsburgh Cincinnati game that's at PNC Park there tomorrow. The Reds are putting it to the Pirates quite a bit here in the early going tonight. It looks like there are going to be some weather concerns there again tomorrow. Kind of looks like pretty even percent of chances of scattered thunderstorms just about all day long. And I'm a resident of Pittsburgh. It rains a lot there. So it's not an uncommon occurrence for the city of Pittsburgh. But tomorrow it's supposed to be Jeff Locke going for the Buccos, a left-handed guy who has been pretty solid recently. He was good, really good in the first half last year, and then kind of fell off the board. And then Homer Bailey, who's actually looked like Homer Bailey a little more, I guess, like Homer Bailey recently than he did in the early going this season. I think here I'm inclined to jump on Homer Bailey, perhaps. You feel the same way?
I do, and Locke a little bit. I mean, looking at his price on DK, he's 7,400, so he's really really mid range. There's a lot of value there with him, and going up against Cincinnati. I mean, yeah, the bats have been alive for Cincinnati, so that is something to consider with a Locke. But Homer Bailey, he's not that much more expensive. He's only about 1,400 more on DK, and he puts up 6 or 7 Ks it seems every time. So. I don't know. I could definitely see both of the pitchers there. I'm going to be fading the hitters probably, and possibly doing some Cincinnati guys just riding the hot streak, like the Billy Hamiltons. And I mean, he had like back-to-back jacks. We had 2 home runs and like multiple stolen bases over the past few days with him, and his price does not increase very much. So.
Right, and we mention this kind of every time we talk about Billy Hamilton when we muster up the courage to speak about Billy Hamilton because he's not a high OBP guy, which is
No.
if he was would be awesome, but his price would surely reflect that should he have been a high OBP guy. But anyway, his upside's kind of sky's the limit with that guy because if he gets on base, he can swipe 2, and that's huge, and then score a run. But like every single time he gets on, there's the threat to steal, and like it's a good threat. It's not just like, oh yeah, he's a threat to steal a base. It's not like Jason Hayward or like a Yelich where like they get on base and he's like, oh yeah, he could run here. Like Billy Hamilton, if he gets on base, he's running. Like it's going to happen. And so the catchers, but they can't throw him out. Not very often anyway. So that's what you get with Billy Hamilton. You're aware of it from the get-go, and obviously when you pay for that price, you're aware of what you're getting. You have a strong chance of him going over 4. But should he reach base once, he can reach his value for you. So that's all it takes.
He's one of my favorite GPP guys because, I mean, especially on a DK where I don't actually get penalized for strikeouts and stuff, he can go over 4 and just put up a 0. But if he can get like on base once, swipe 2 bags, and get a run, it's the equivalent of hitting a home run. So, it's like, I don't know. I really like that. I like it more that you slid a Yelich reference in there. That made me actually very happy.
I have to, man. It stinks that he's going to the DL. This small sliver of me was like tiny bit not okay with it, but like okay, I guess that's not a total loss because the Cubs did just play the Marlins. And so while I would have rooted for Yelich, I obviously root first and foremost for the Cubbies, who just took 2 of 3, by the way. Jake Arrieta, absolutely dominant today. He's so good. Such good stuff. He can put it together up here. He can be super, super dominant. Anyway, that's totally off topic. But I was kind of on him going to the DL, but it's super sad. I love you, Christian, if you're out there watching. Send me a jersey, buddy. That's all I got to say. Anyway, though, let's stop talking about the Pirates game with Christian Yelich. We'll talk about the Royals and Tigers. We were just kind of messing about Chris K. I'm sure Chris K would have something to say about this game. Danny Duffy, who has been, pretty good, I guess. Like, I guess good is the adjective to use for him. I'm not sure. That might be maybe too, I don't know, too, like, baseline, like, of an adjective to use for Danny Duffy. But
No,
Anibal Sanchez, the other guy.
this is an interesting matchup because Duffy is on the road against CK's Tigers, and on the road, the past 2 games, he's gotten 34 points and 26 on DK. His last 2 home starts, 10 and -2. So that could be why he's messing with people, because he's a very low-price guy every time, and for whatever reason, on the road lately, he seems to be shining a bit. So I don't know. The way that the Kansas City Bats have been going, too, things could be a little tough for the Tigers, but at the same time, Anibal Sanchez is under 10 grand on DK as the #1 pitcher and doing some solid stuff. Probably has the best chance to cool the Royals' bats of any Tigers pitcher lately. So
Right. And, the Royals, I guess their offense was tempered a little bit today. They only scored 2. They did beat the Tigers again today, but they did only score 2 runs, which is a little more Royal. Okay. Anyway, sorry, that was weird. But anyway, I still just don't expect much from that offense. Not a whole lot.
It's hard. It's tough. Like I was making fun of they put up 22 runs in 2 games. It's like they got 11 runs in each. When I start seeing stuff like that, I do start going away from a team like that, because how many times have teams gotten 11 runs? 4 out of 6 games. It's like even those numbers start getting pretty bad when you see a double-digit back-to-back like that. So yeah, if they only put up 2 runs today, that makes sense, and that would probably bump Annabelle just a little bit more in my head. But Duffy could also be a really sneaky GPP guy tomorrow. He's second lowest.
Sorry.
He's second lowest from the bottom on pricing. Only Erasmo Ramirez is below him. So.
Right. Yeah, you know what? It's tough to pick on the Tigers. It's just difficult. But Duffy and Annabelle both have a high K upside, and that's what you're looking for, especially GPPs and stuff like that. So that's kind of, if you like strikeouts, which everybody likes strikeouts, right? I mean, come on. I guess not as a Cubs fan when they're hitting, you don't like that, but otherwise, yeah, I like strikeouts. Yeah, these 2 guys. If I'm on hitters, and I'm not necessarily saying that I would be on a ton of guys, Kinsler kills lefties, Miggy's Miggy, Victor Martinez is awesome. Thank you. I don't feel like stretching for anybody else, really.
No, I rest my case along with the Logie on that one, because one of the things I'm realizing is as we break down, like 5 in the early and 6 in the late or something, we're going over 11 games. My normal routine is to fade some of these games from a certain perspective. And this one, it's like I'll be playing some Sanchez and I'll be playing some Duffy strategically. It's a scary play, but he'll end up a little bit here and there. But at that point, when I start investing in the pitchers, it's like I start fading the hitters instantly. So it's kind of funny. It's like you give, 2 or 3 picks for the Tigers and kind of walk away. It's like, yeah, I don't need to force 3 or 4 mini-team stacks from people I'm not going to do anyways. So.
Right. Yeah, that's something that I think, and sorry to go off on a tangent, this is a shorter slate anyway, so we got room to kind of talk a little bit. I think it's something that we put, at least personally, I know I do it sometimes, is that you look at a matchup and you look at a team and, you just kind of force guys in there because the matchup says, because it looks like a plus matchup on paper. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. A lot of times, and I did it tonight against Wade Miley, you pick on a guy like that, and he's really not that bad.
Yeah.
So maybe I forced probably 1 or 2 Brewers that I wouldn't normally take just because they're right-handed against Wade Miley into my lineup.
I did the
and
same thing
it's
myself last night with I think it was Cy Correa against my Sox for a little bit. It was tough. It was like me and Chris K had talked about him being a serviceable pitcher, and he did that. Like he didn't. When the game finishes and it's 1-0 or 2-1, it's like that is a game that my gut was telling me to just fade bats and walk away, and I probably should listen to it. I let myself get talked into some stats that are like, well, Correa could be due for a blow up. Like I don't know. It's a tough tightrope that we walk with that kind of stuff that you're talking about for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess we brought up Wade Miley. We should probably talk about his team because they play in the next game on the list for tomorrow. It looks like Chase Anderson, the young Texan right-hander, who actually, little tidbit on him while I'm kind of always kind of off topic. Anyway, Chase Anderson actually, I don't know if he pitched against him or he's one game away from pitching against Kershaw in the high school state championships or something like that back in Texas when he was in high school. And then they faced off that one night that Kershaw got shit on. Where he got pounded, like absolutely. Everybody was on him, like everybody, like always. I mean, it's Kershaw, but he absolutely got pounded that night. But anyway, Chase Anderson, the right-handed guy, going for them, and Giovanni Gallardo throwing for the Brew Crew. This is at Chase Field, a very spacious park, but a pretty hitter-friendly place as it is.
Yeah.
Do you like either pitcher? Because I don't really.
No, that's the problem I run into here. It's like I got to pass on the Chase Anderson, Chase Field. My last name's Chase. All this stuff. It lines up, but I still have to blow by it. Gallardo.
Oh, dude, the stars are aligning. I think you got to throw him in a lineup somewhere.
Well, he'll go into one GPP at this point, just after
right.
Like that. It's like, wait a minute, okay. Well, I'd be stupid not to do it for superstitious purposes, but Gallardo, he's been pretty solid, and he's a mid-price pitcher on DK 7,500. So that's a scary one for me because I mean the Diamondbacks, they have a good offense. They're in Arizona. I don't know. I think that if you guys are like cash games, H2H, double ups, I think you have to fade both pitchers and focus on hitting in this one.
Yeah. You know what I think I just might have done? I think I might have had the video on myself for the first 20 minutes. Son of...
That's not a terrible thing. At least people didn't see me when I pulled my drink, and then I had that naked girl that was walking by for like 10 minutes. So good thing people didn't see that.
No, I can't remember if it was flipping back or forth or not. But now it seems to be. But I don't remember if it was before, and now I'm really nervous. Because that would be so stupid if I left it on myself for 20 minutes. They'd have to look at you in the little tiny box in the corner. So my apologies to you for stealing airtime if I did that. I'm not sure why it does that for me, but it was the first time. No, why didn't anybody tell me?
He's actually here. People thought it was a recording that you were timing the questions with. You just like kind of hit the playback, play my voice. Oh.
Sorry about that, guys. I know I have that issue. I don't know why it does that for me. Like, I don't even hit any buttons. It just, like, locks it on myself.
It's done that before. Yeah.
Man, and of course, like, I really debated on wearing a hat or not. It's so hot here. I'm, like, sweating. But my hair is so bad.
And you're showing the half Cocoa Crisp. You got the half Cocoa rocking right now.
Oh, my gosh.
Just let it go.
I'm so thoroughly embarrassed. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, man. Anyway, let's move on because I just want to get off that whole, like, couple minutes. The Mariners and Padres, which sounds like a really disgusting matchup, but the Mariners really aren't that bad. And they're getting better. Felix Hernandez is unreal. Absolutely unfair. Anyway, tomorrow it's going to be Jesse Hahn and Erasmo Ramirez, though. Two guys that don't really excite you at all when you think about pitching. But these are two like offenses that are kind of meh, and it's at Petco Park. Do you take a chance, or what do you think here?
Oh, you touched on it. I could take a chance on Jesse, just because he played the Mets in his last game, so that gets a little bit sketchy. You can't put too much stock into that, but he's really low priced. both of the offenses do not scare me. San Diego burned me the other night. I was talking to Chris K about how I'll mini stack them 6 times a year, maybe 1 out of 50 times, or something stupid like that. And I actually did, and I had them paired with like Oakland stacks and Cincy stacks, and like they were the only ones to zero up on me. So I don't know. The San Diego bats are not scaring me either, but Ramirez is your lowest priced pitcher. So, looking at the game logs, I mean, he got serviceable mid-range teens. He's got 13, 15, 15 in 3 of his last 4. He had one where he got negative, but I don't know. I guess it could be a sneaky GPP play because it's the Padres, but even I have a hard time doing that. So,
Dude, I have such a hard time doing that. I mean, if you look at his last what he doesn't go deep into games, or at least hasn't. I guess he's averaging close to I'm not sure what it is. Let's see, just around probably his K per nine's probably not bad because he's not pitching deep, but his strikeout numbers aren't up. But I mean, I just look at the game log and see that not going deep into games, and that does it for me. We talk about this all the time. No. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just realizing now that your avatar on Loot Chat is Rafi from the league. I never.
Man.
Oh, that's
because we both have the stupid long curly hair. That's why.
Rafi he's the greatest character on that show, though. I mean,
except for I can't grow a beard. I have a huge bald spot under my. You can probably see it on TV.
I don't know.
Bad. I don't really know what to talk about.
We're not in high def, but once we are. No, that's beautiful, man. That's so classic. I'm reading the chat. I'm like, holy shit. Yep, he's rocking the Rafi avatar. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Sorry to get you off track.
All right. No, that's okay. Are there any hitters then besides, kind of like the obvious best hitter in this game? Is there anybody besides him?
No, not jumping out. The pricing's
I
not.
guess Seth Smith. I like Seth Smith still, and he's hitting leadoff tonight. I like that.
A lot of people are talking about him. He's one of the bright spots on the Padres unit where he'll get the single, or he'll get on base somehow, and then everyone else lets him down. So
right.
It's really.
Who has shown in the past flashes of brilliance is Chase Headley. And honestly, a time like right now is super important for Chase Headley and the Padres organization because he's a guy that they could flip at the deadline, and could be serviceable for a contender. But he's going to need to pick up his performance if they're going to get anything for him.
You stumbled upon something right there. I went with the Chase Magic the other night. That was one of the pods that I took because I took Seth Smith, Chase Headley, and Everett Cabrera or something for the third, but Chase let me down. He's been a little bit cold lately, it looks like. So you're right. It's if he could do something, I mean, he's got that big game in him that could be coming up soon. But I don't know. I tried to cash in on it. It hasn't worked for me a couple times over the past week or two. So he's got.
Yeah, and you want to know Sorry.
No, go ahead. I wasn't saying anything.
But I was gonna jump off Chase Headley too. The Mariners have won 3 in a row heading into tonight. I did want to note that Robbie Cano, although he only has 4 homers on the year, which I guess not everybody's super surprised. He's been at Safeco, which we knew was kind of going to diminish those power numbers. Anyway, he's got 2 homers. Half of his home runs are in the last 7 days. So if you're into recent performance, which I'm not a super huge guy, but that's obviously not going to hurt a guy's reasoning for putting him in the lineup. So.
Sorry.
Just something to think about. That's okay. I'll move on, and you'll catch me as I'm done introducing this game anyway. It's going to be the Yankees and Blue Jays at Yankee Stadium, a game that I kind of heavily targeted tonight, even though Burley's been pretty masterful. It's 2 guys there tomorrow night, later in tomorrow night. Is this the official beginning of the late slate? I guess that last game would have been the official beginning of the late slate, if they include it. 7:05 Eastern at Yankee Stadium. It's going to be Drew Hutchison, the young right-handed guy who's got a pretty good potential there for the Blue Jays against David Phelps, a guy that we are always picking on and we'll pick on again tomorrow. No pitchers for you, right? This is a hitter game, correct?
Always, and especially, I mean, Toronto, Yankees, we got, I will be taking Toronto bats for sure. Um, I don't even know what they've done over the past few days. That's the problem. Have they been really hot, or have they cooled off a bit?
Let me get you the run totals.
That's
That'll
kind
give
of
you
what I would be looking for there.
that'll
Because
be a pretty good indication.
I think that they started putting Rasmus in the lineup again, and
Rasmus is back. Rasmus is back. He was hitting 8th tonight. He wasn't available on DraftKings.
yeah, I got him at 3,500 for tomorrow, so they're giving him a price. It's like guys like that could be really sneaky that are cheap later in the order. Because it's hard when you look at Toronto because you want Joey Bats, you want E5. It's like Reyes even, or Lowry hasn't been expensive, but he would be your fourth. But those top three, it's like they're hovering around $5,000 each on DK. So when you start looking at Toronto versus New York, if you got to go cheap, you start looking at Erasmus or something.
Right. And Juan Francisco is in there tonight again. He's cheap. He's cheap now, which is cool. They scored 1 run yesterday at Yankee Stadium, which is kind of disappointing. The Blue Jays offense. It's an offense that mashes at home, but still Yankee Stadium is a bandbox. So.
That's an odd thing. That's why I like to look into that just for a sec, because Toronto's a team that I like to ride when their bats are hot, and if they put up a 1 or 2 or 3 over a couple days in a row for runs, I consider that cooled in my head, and I'll back off them. I'll take cheaper guys, but yeah, in Yankee Stadium, they should be lighting stuff up. So against the Phelps, tomorrow's a true test, I guess. Even Navarro at catcher or something. That might be you say Francisco, right? You said him earlier?
Yeah, he's in there. Navarro had an RBI single tonight, though.
Yeah. So you've got 2 or 3 cheaper guys for Toronto you could plug in there anyways, just to see, if they go off, you got a piece of that action.
Right. The other guy I want to talk about was, dang, who am I forgetting now from this game? I was just going to mention it, then I got distracted real quick. Because I was looking at the scores from tonight to see what they've done. They only have 2 tonight. Brian McCann. He's up right now. Cool. Hit a home run tonight. Walked. He's got to turn it around sometime, right? I know, I read an article the other day about he's one of the guys who's been affected most by these shifts. The shifts have taken away more hits from him than a certain amount of guys. He's in, the top 5 or something of where the shifts have really, really worked against him. Dude, I say, hey, you're an all-star, you're a major league hitter, freaking figure it out, right? I play baseball too, and I know obviously the guys that he's facing have incredible stuff, and they're pitching him to their defense. It's not that easy, but try to even show bunt once or twice. All you have to do is show it, and maybe do it once and have it work, and it's going to change things a little bit. If you show them you can beat it. I watched Garrett Jones try to bunt against the Cubs 2 or 3 times this series, it changes things a little bit. Figure it out, Brian. Come on, dude. You're better than what you're playing right now. He has a home run tonight, though. Anyway, that's the other guy I want to mention against Hutchinson tomorrow. If this guy can get it going, definitely a guy that can be in your lineup, and his price is kind of ridiculously cheap. So for his caliber of player. Anyway, I don't want to talk about the game anymore because I hate the Yankees. So.
I'm fully on board with hating the Yankees. McCann's 3,500 on DK. He's really cheap.
Yeah, that's what he was tonight. And I couldn't I know it was against Burley, but I'm looking through the catcher ranks, and if it wasn't Lucroy for me tonight against Miley, I was kind of where else do I really want to go? Because the night slate was pretty short, pretty shallow in terms of what you have to work with. So.
Agreed.
Anyway. Let's see.
Moving on.
Next game, though. Braves and Nats. This is a game with another weather concern. It's in Washington. Gosh, I wish there was, it stinks because it's a short slate, but there's so much weather that we have to worry about, which makes things really, really tough because, short amount of games as it is, and then you got You have to deal with the weather, which is going to affect your pitchers. Um, and one of these pitchers has been really, really, really good recently, Jordan Zimmerman against
Amazing.
Gavin Floyd. There, both these guys haven't been bad, but Zimmerman's been magically good. Um,
Zimmerman
so
has been he's been tasty, as we like to say from time to time. He's finally caught up on pricing. He's a top price pitcher tomorrow night at 10-2 on DK. Before he was hovering 8 to 9K. I think he
yeah,
did one in the 7K when he was doing some serious work. And I mean, against the Braves tomorrow night, I could still justify 10-2. He all last year he was hovering around being a top pitcher. So when he drops down into that medium range, a lot of us jumped on board, and it's been an awesome ride so far his past few games. Especially if
yeah. This is the guy.
you
Sorry, this is the guy that all that controversy was in the beginning of the year with like, oh, should we go back to him against the Marlins? Blah 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 blah. Dude, he's a good pitcher against like, wherever. I don't even remember where the second game was, but everybody's like, no, no way, you can't go back to him. Blah 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 blah. Dude, no, like this is a game of forget. It happens, Like sometimes you just don't have your stuff.
yeah.
Like, are you not going to trust Clayton Kershaw if he gets pounded one time? No, it's dumb. That's stupid. Whatever. I'm over that. Anyway, I know Jordan Zimmerman's good. He's a guy that I really like. The strikeouts have not been there recently. He had that 12K game, but his strikeouts have kind of been down. But, if he's pitching deep into the game and working like he has, it doesn't matter as much. It's still very important, but the Braves are a team that strike out a lot, so that's something else of note. But the weather here is scary, and that's what makes taking him difficult, especially if you're paying up. But I think he's obviously a top option tomorrow.
You absolutely nailed it. All right there. It's like the weather is a huge concern because he's such a high-priced option, but he's going up against a team that's strikeout prone. I mean, like you said, he had one game of 12 Ks. His other ones were like 5 and under, 5, 4, 3, his past 3. So, it's like you start getting that weather involved, it gets really scary on these top-priced pitchers. So I would take him all over the place if weather is good. But, we have to really keep eyes on that for tomorrow night.
Agreed. Let's move on, though, because I don't really want to talk about that. No Nationals hitters really entice me, even though it is Gavin Floyd. Another game that won't actually be affected because they have a retractable roof in Miami is the Mets and the Marlins. The Cubs just took 2 or 3 from the Marlins. So I do want to point that out. The Cubs are awesome. Andrew Heaney, huge prospect, a left-handed guy, is going to make his major league debut tomorrow against the Mets, against Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler, a guy, high K potential. Numbers aren't spectacular if you look at just kind of like the ERA, the rest of that stuff. Not spectacular. And we know the Marlins are better at home, but the Cubs did just quiet these bats fairly well. Jake Arrieta had 11 Ks today, career high. I'm not going to bore you guys with it. We all know what the Cubs are. They're going to be really good, so I don't need to talk about it too much. Anyway, though, Andrew Heaney, major league debut. Are we on board with that against the Mets, or do we kind of wait and see? What's your approach on this?
He's third lowest price pitcher tomorrow, so at 6,500 on DK, prospect against the Mets. I got to load him up a little bit. I won't have much exposure, but definitely won't be fading him. I love how you're able to talk about the Cubs for about 45 seconds because they played a team that we're talking about right now. Oh, that's a hat tip, Logie.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I can get on board because he's as cheap as he is, and some of these guys will come out and have a lights-out game, and the Mets' offense has never frightened me very much. If he's coming out playing Oakland, then I'm like, I look at that instantly, I think of it different, but I see, hey, he's making his first MLB start. It's like, oh, I get scared, but then I see Mets, and I'm like, in Miami, I could get on board with that. I could see it.
Yeah, man. You know what? We talk about this. We've talked about this in the past. Typically, in a guy's first start or first few starts, you give the advantage to the pitcher. If a hitter hasn't seen them before, typically that's kind of the adage there is that the pitcher's going to have the advantage. And I know Andrew Heaney's a big time prospect there. It's difficult to kind of project what this guy's going to do in his first big league start because honestly I know baseball is a very, very mental game.
Mm.
And I'm not super into like all the like weird mental things we're gonna say about like BVP and owning a pitcher and all that stuff. But it is, it's a little bit different when you think about it being his first career start and stuff like that. I think it makes it a little bit different. Okay, I think it's interesting to use him against the Mets, but at the same time, you have to take into account it being his first start and at home. I won't be using him. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Is I won't be using him,
Well,
but
that
I do think it's interesting.
it
So
doesn't actually surprise me. You do a lot of cash type games, don't you? You just dabble in GPPs.
yeah, I've been playing more GPPs recently than I have cash games, which isn't good for bankrolls, guys. By the way, I've
It's
seen mine dip just a tad, but I've
good.
been so busy that like I don't have as much time to build lineups, and honestly, it's easier to build GPP lineups in my opinion, because you can be a little more risky. You don't have to be as thorough. So
That's
that's
one of the
kind of what I've
problems.
been banking on.
That's one of the things you're missing about GPPs. If you're doing multi-entry, if you're doing like 4 to 6 teams, it's almost like you're composing a song of sorts. You have to start with your basic knowledge of which teams am I focusing on, and I need to spread these guys evenly over 4 to 6 teams while exposing my
Right.
to just enough. Like I think it's kind of an art, and I think it's almost harder
No,
sometimes than other
you're
stuff.
right. Yeah, you're right. It totally is. Multi-entry is, and guys will attest to this. Even the guys that play as much multi-entry as they do. How many guys? If you certainly love a guy, you can't obviously. If you're going to put 20 lineups in, can you risk putting him in all 20? No, I don't think you can
I
because if he
I
does
can't get
nothing,
I can't get past about 25 to 33% at this point because once I started hitting 50 or 60% with guys on 10 to 20 rosters, I would get slammed pretty hard sometimes. But I don't know. I've found a little not a safe spot, but I feel comfortable in the 25 to 33%. So I don't know. I think it's one of those things that people just they don't really embrace as much as they should maybe. Sometimes after I've made 6 rosters, I get a really good feeling that one of them is gonna hit where I need it to, like a top 20 or a top 10, because I feel like I've done the work across the 6. It's a hard thing to explain, man, but start embracing that a little more. Go after your GPPs. Don't just, oh, I've lost a bunch of money on them. It's like people don't give that enough of a go. They run right back to the cash games, and then you're trying to beat rake and taxes as a combo. That's a tough thing to beat for a percentage. You got to be winning heavier than a lot of people would think at that point.
right, right. Well, you know what? That's a different night for a different discussion. We do have looks like 4 here, and I know we're gonna get off track as it is because that's just always what happens. But to allow for time and questions, we've actually got a pretty active chat tonight.
Yeah.
To allow for some of that stuff, I know Henry has a question for you that we will get to at the end. He did this to me too once, but I'll let him get. I'll let you answer it at the end because that'll be fun. Anyway, let's get to these last 4 games, and then we can mess around a little bit. The Astros and the Rays. This is at Tropicana Field. Um, what do you say about the Astros? Kind of what they've done recently, and what do you say about the Rays? Kind of what they haven't done this season. Colin McHugh, who's just been kind of a complete head scratcher. I mentioned everything that's kind of gone on with him and his, the change in what they're trying to get him to do in previous shows. And Chris Archer is the other guy, an ex-Cubs prospect that we actually dealt to the Rays for Matt Garza,
Yeah.
who then in turn gave us actually Neil Ramirez, Justin Grimm, C.J. Edwards, which is awesome. I'm super pumped about all those guys. We don't have to talk about them, though. I can talk about the Cubs all night. Anyway, Archer, he's been pretty good. Let's see, what did he do last time? 3 innings last time,
At Houston.
where he kind of at Houston, correct, where he kind of melted down just a tad. Only 1 earned, but a little meltdown. Shortest outing of his career. Let's just say that, or shortest outing of this season. Sorry.
Yeah.
Are you on? Are you on him again? This is that Jordan Zimmerman thing.
I wouldn't
I'm
be.
sure people were on him against Houston.
I'm not gonna be because he's your third highest priced pitcher on DK. He's 9 grand, and Houston has been so much better this year than people want to give him credit for, especially with I don't know just the bats themselves, Altuve's, Springer. it's been a different Houston team. So I look at an Archer and it's like he had one of his worst career outings last time out. But at that point, you've got to be 7 to 8 grand on DK for me to take a shot. You can't be the third highest priced pitcher against a team that might trick people because they glance at it and see, oh, it's a Strohs. Yeah, plug him in. I don't know. He feels like a super trap play to me.
What do I say here now? I like what Chris Archer brings to the table. Chris Archer could be, he's a super GPP play in my opinion. That's what I guess I'm getting at. My brothers yell at me because I waffle on here. They say because I say both sides because I want to give everybody both sides, but I guess I should just pick one side.
You gotta commit to it. It's like I'm going against the Archer and I'm sticking with the Stros because of what they've been doing. I mean, you're right with the K's. You know, it's like out of his 4 last games, 2 of them have gone over 7. You know, the other 2 he's had 2 Ks each. So that's a huge GPP play of sorts. I think that's a guy that you probably would fade in your cash games. You know.
Right, right. Yeah, you know, that's what I mean here is that I say this every time about the Stros being the young, undisciplined team that they are, and the ability for a guy like Chris Archer to go out there and strike out a bunch of them because it's there. But at the same time, he could also blow up because the Astros have the potential to kind of go out and be awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, I'm not on Colin McHugh either, even though it is the Rays. I can't do it. I can't do it, man. We've talked about this so many times. Like, he's been awesome. He's been good.
Yes.
You know? But I can't do Colin McHugh, man. And the strikeouts are good, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's nothing bad about what he's done. The strikeouts are good. He's pitched well. He's not giving up a ton of runs. You know, I don't want to talk about wins with the Astros because that doesn't really count, although they really haven't been super bad.
He's got decent stats with all that. He's got a 3 ERA, 4-4 win-loss. You know, the problem with him, my biggest problem, is the price. He's pretty much always had an expensive price through his past 3 or 4 games.
Right.
You can't really get
he had those first 2 games of the year where he, like his debut against Seattle, everybody stacked against him. And he had like 11 strikeouts, went like 7 scoreless, and then like the next start he did like the exact same thing, and everybody's like, okay, like what the hell's going on with Tom McHugh? Like what's going on? And this is really off topic, but this just popped into my head. Every time I think of Colin McHugh or say Colin McHugh, I think of that really old. It's probably not that old. I guess I was probably like 10 or 11 when it came out. Stupid Disney movie called Nanny McPhee.
I don't know if I ever saw that, man.
It's really, like, it's not a popular movie at all, but I just remember it. And every time I say Colin McHugh, I think of that movie. And I don't know why. I haven't made the connection yet. I guess the McPhee and McHugh, I guess. I don't know why. That's whatever. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm embarrassed.
No,
White Sox Twins at Target Field.
No, you were on track. You're talking to a guy in his mid-30s that I'm not getting your reference at all. It's like I want to, but yeah, Nurse McPhee.
Dude, I don't know if like
American Idol, like Catherine McPhee or something. Like I
don't know, man. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know either. So we just gotta friggin' run with it.
Yeah, I'm probably dehydrated, and it's so hot in here I can't focus. Anyway, White Sox and Twins. Chris Sale got the win there today. This is this is probably the worst of the rain games tomorrow at Target Field. So right out of the gate, I'm going to say pitchers are probably no go. It's Johan Pino, I guess is how you say it. He will be making the start. It is going to be his major league debut. He's, this isn't like a young guy. He's 30 years old. He's been really, really good in AAA this year, 9-1 in AAA this year. So that's something there. And the White Sox aren't like, it's the White Sox. But the rain says no for me. And, Jose Quintana on the other end, the rain just says no. So hitters only, in my opinion, in this game. And when you say hitters only from these two teams, it basically means nobody. Am I right? I mean, outside of Jose Abreu.
You could go...
outside of Jose Abreu.
Danny Santana? If he's
okay, Danny Santana. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, too.
I'll give you one. Okay. If I got to put someone in from that game, that's who I'll probably roster.
Yeah, and Abreu. Abreu is just unreal.
Oh, yeah.
Another home run today.
Abreu's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, he just, he's become one of those, can you afford him type guys. It's not, should I play him? It's, can I afford him?
Yeah, he's reached that status. It's the the Mike Trout Miggy status, kind of, I guess. Not quite, but he's close to that status where it's like it doesn't matter who he's facing. It's just can I afford him, and is like putting him in my lineup the best possible thing I can do with the money I've got left. Yeah, that's where he's at. We don't even need. This is the game. We don't need to talk about on the slate. We mentioned those couple guys. Outside of that, don't play anybody. It would be
No,
stupid to play people from this game.
it's good.
I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it right now.
It's probably going to be a mess weather-wise anyways. So, these
Yeah, and you know
offenses,
what?
they're not known for lighting the scoreboard up. So you could see a 2-1 game or a 3-1 and
Right.
yuck.
Well, you know what'll happen now that we say this is that it'll be super sloppy game, but it'll be like 14-12 sloppy. Like no
You
home runs. Everybody goes up and hits singles. Like something stupid, but
can't acknowledge that,
whatever.
Yogi, prior to. It's not going to happen. We got to stick with the. It's going to be sloppy. It's going to be like 2-1. Moving on.
All right, Phillies Cardinals at Busch Stadium. No weather here, and there's not going to be any weather in the last game of the night that we're going to talk about eventually, which is closer to your heart anyway.
We
David
love.
Buchanan, who is not good, throwing for the Phillies. This is at St. Louis, by the way, against Shelby Miller, who's been not bad. Shelby Miller. He's been Shelby Miller. I guess I should say that. He's been really good in his last two. He had that complete game 3-hitter at Toronto, and then he threw 6 2/3 with a 1 earned run. The thing with Shelby Miller is the walks really piss me off. He walks a lot of guys, so that bugs the crap out of me. But in that late slate tomorrow, there's not a whole lot of guys, not a whole lot.
No,
So I think Shelby Miller's got to be on your radar,
he definitely is, especially against Philly. That's another team.
and at home.
Yeah, I don't trust Philly offensively. Like I see pitchers, I start targeting them. Philly will surprise you from time to time, get a little hot, but yeah, his last two starts have been very solid, and his price didn't skyrocket. He was mid 7,000s and 8 grand, and he's still hovering around 8 grand. So for a shorter slate, he's a very affordable pitcher against a weaker offense, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is one of the guys where, especially on two pitcher places like DraftKings in the late slate, where you've got to fit two pitchers and you're dealing with weather as it is, and this is a game that's safe weather-wise. I think you almost have to basically maybe make him that first guy and then pick and choose around that based on which weather kind of clears up best, because we talk about it all the time. Pitching is, you can't afford to have a guy go out there, throw 2 innings, be awesome, and you get all excited about your night, and then the rain hits, and then he's not back out when the delay's over.
That's
Then
one of
you
the
feel like a
worst.
total jackass.
Oh, it's happened, like with me, it kills my GPP teams, but there's got to be cash game people out there that risk the weather more than they should. And I think even Sale had one a couple games ago where he
He
went like
did,
three.
yeah. He threw four perfect innings.
Oh, it was so beautiful. It was so minty. And all of a sudden, it's like, well, rain killed that. So, yeah, you get 15 points on DK or something, but you're not getting 30. You're not getting 40. And, oh, that stuff hurts. So, yeah, pitchers we always have to keep a close eye on anytime, especially the delay stuff. You mentioned that. It's like that's something people don't consider. Is like just because the game is starting out good, is it going to get delayed an hour in? Because there's a decent chance that your pitcher never comes back in if it does get that first hour, then a delay. So weather's really tricky when you start getting the starting pitchers, and yeah, I think you just got to keep close eyes on them the best you can.
Right, right. In this game, though, I don't, because I like Miller, I don't like Phillies. But I do like some Cardinals. Matt Carpenter, Matt Adams has been really good recently. 3 homers in his last 7. Kind of finally putting on his Fat Adams pants, I guess we should say.
That's it.
A PA boy, a PA guy. So there's that for you, Matt. Matt Adams will be on my radar tomorrow night. And like I said, Carpenter. Those two guys are kind of my favorites there. I don't like David Buchanan at all, so you can basically roster any Cardinal, and I'm totally on board with it. It's even Shelby Miller. You don't get the offensive statistics, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does something because Buchanan sucks. So,
No,
but anyway,
I'm
let's.
on board.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm on board with. I'm going to be taking some Cardinals tomorrow myself. Carpenter and Fat Adams. Possibly Colton Wong if he's in there. Like he's kind of a what day is it?
Is
Is he
he
going to be in? But he's been
is he
decent.
back yet?
Well, he
He's
got a hit last night or something, so maybe he was,
okay.
I don't know what
Let me
happened
check
there.
this.
But yeah, you can
I
look into
haven't
that for
used
a
him in
sec.
because I
I'd
know he
go
got hurt.
possibly John Jay too. Maybe he got hurt last night, and I'm thinking of something fresh. It's kind of tough with a
No,
guy.
he was hurt a while ago.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He was hurt a while ago, and I saw him. He did pretty well. He hit some type of I don't know, a double or something. I thought I
Yeah,
saw.
no, he's been back. Wong's back.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep, another left-handed guy there who has wheels too. 9 of 10 on the base paths this year.
So yeah, it's
So
like I saw some stuff. It looked like he'd been heating up a bit, and he'd be on my radar too for Cardinals.
right, right. All right, this last game, and then we're gonna have some questions. It looks like according to D Coop. Um, Last game to talk about is the Red Sox and the Oakland A's. Man, the tale of two teams, I should say, a la Charles Dickens, with a little twist, I guess, in the title.
Oh,
Casimir and Jake Peavy. I'm gonna let you start because this game is for you to kind of rant a little bit. We got a little bit of time for you to kind of voice your frustrations. The Red Sox did win today, back-to-back jacks in the 10th, right?
I think what was that? Knapp and Ortiz.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, we're riding a little mini win streak. Unfortunately, I don't know. Pretty much ever since you told me their playoff chances were 6% at one point, I've realized just how bad off we are at this point. And tomorrow we got PV against Casimir, and I don't know. Casimir has been really, really odd. Like he's one of those guys that I've been playing fantasy baseball a long time. Years ago, he was a prospect for me, and I played him for year after year. He was awesome. And then he just fell off the radar. He started getting injured. He would
Yep.
come back, he'd get more injured, and it's like so when he came back this time too, I still didn't really believe it. But I don't know.
Believe it.
Looking at the way he is 8,400 against the Sox tomorrow.
God, 8,400.
Yeah.
Do
It's
they
like
know what this guy's been doing?
yeah, he's been doing pretty
Jeez.
amazing stuff. Like he's been doing Casimir stuff from years ago, which is what's been
28 and a third innings, 3 earned runs, 27 strikeouts in his last 4 starts.
yeah, I can see that right now. Like and he's hit 10, 7, and 8 in 3 of his past 4 for Ks. Like that's just
8,400. 8,400 in the ninth slate.
and
Put him in.
against my Boston Bats, which I would always defend. Like regardless, it's like I'm going to defend them, but you know,
Right, but where are you at besides maybe Napoli and Bogarts kills lefties?
yeah,
Pedroia, I'm so meh on Pedroia. He's kind of blacklisted for me. And taking the lefty kind of, Poppy's not super affected, but it
no,
does a little bit when you got a guy who throws harder like Casimir with some sharp breaking stuff.
yeah.
That affects lefties, obviously.
My problem for tomorrow is I'm not going to be playing many Red Sox. It's a day that I have to fade my team because Casimir has made me a believer again. He has he did years ago. He won me fantasy baseball championships so long ago, and I can't believe he's like right back at almost elite status at this point. But my Sox are not a scary lineup for him at this point, and Napoli and Bogarts with Pedroia as an asterisk would be about the 3 that I would play. But I'm probably going to be playing, Casimir pretty good. Probably he might hit the 25 to 33% of my teams.
Yeah, I'd say you'd have to probably give him that consideration. Where are you at on PV? Are you against him? You with him? You on A's? You off A's?
PV,
Um,
he's gross. We've talked about gross players before. PV is just gross. It's like if he does well, I mean, Oakland bats, I definitely want to run for the hills with PV. I don't want to roster him at all. He's dipped below 7K at 6,900. Tight, but still, he's almost a 7K pitcher against Oakland. That's really tough. But past 4 games, he's had 3 of them in the mid-teens and 1 in single digits. He's hovering around 15 points. You're getting 3 to 7Ks, and I think 7's a little generous. I don't know. I can't see rostering him very much at all, even at his price.
Right. The guy on the other end that we should probably talk about is Brandon Moss, who crushes
Oh.
righties. Um, really makes sense to talk about him, and
It's
some of the other A's, JSO, and those guys.
oh yeah. No, one of the it's Brandon Moss at this point. That's been floating around Twitter a lot. A lot of people lay claim to starting that. I don't know who really did, but he's a huge consideration tomorrow. Jasso, like you said, even a Vaught, if I'm saying that right, Steven, he's
I think it's Vogt. I don't really know though. I might be making shit up.
either way, it's like these guys are cheap and oh, they could do some damage against PV because he can get flustered, and
Yeah.
Oakland's a team that will fluster you for sure.
Let's just say, guys, if you're playing hitters in this game, you're playing A's. Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, we do have a question in the chat from dcoop328. I'm hoping dcoop that your name is after legendary DB Cooper. I'm hoping maybe it's after your name, which would be less cool, but still okay. Jose Abreu or Paul Goldschmidt? I'll let you take it first.
Oh, I go Abreu. We've been talking
Abreu.
about Abreu. I mean, Goldschmidt's great always, but just Abreu's, I don't know, he's been a little bit hot lately. So yeah, you give me that chance still. We talked about Rain, but it's one guy from that game that I would play. It's like, yeah, I'd take a shot with him.
You know what? I would if I'm picking straight up and not taking anything into consideration like park, pitcher, or weather tomorrow, I'm picking Abreu for sure.
Ooh.
That is a game though that has some weather concerns.
Yeah.
At Target Field, like that's the game that we talked about has the worst weather there. So that's what makes me say Paul Goldschmidt. That's what's doing it. If that wasn't a concern at all, if I didn't have to worry about the weather or anything like that, I would say Abreu because I like that matchup against that young guy who is actually he's not young, he's 30, making his major league debut. But anyway, that would be where I'm going. But because of the weather, I will be taking Paul Goldschmidt against Gallardo in a better hitter's park. Anyway, the next question he used, or D Coop's thrown out, is Francisco Long. That's Juan Francisco. Evan Longoria or Ryan Zimmerman. Looking for some third basemen. Just to give you a heads up on who these guys are facing, Brandon, so you can make your decision. Let's see. Francisco is facing David Phelps. That is at Yankee Stadium. Just to let you know there. Longoria is facing Colin McHugh in Houston, it's at Tampa Bay. Sorry. And Ryan Zimmerman seeing Gavin Floyd. That is at Washington.
For me, that's pretty easy because, I mean, the pricing's got to be way different. I'm going with Francisco anyways, but
yeah, that's where I'm at on that one too.
They have to be more expensive, so it's like, yeah, you look at those three, and it's like, well, I'm going to take the cheap one that I actually like the best out of them. So
right, yeah. No, I like Francisco the best too. I think the matchup is the best for him as compared to the other two guys. Francisco hits righties really well. He's at Yankee Stadium. It's a big home run guy. It just kind of all falls in the line as something where it screams, hey, out of those three, give me Francisco. That is all his questions, though. And this is right on 9:30, which is pretty sweet. So that's going to wrap it up, guys. The Cubs don't play tomorrow, so everybody in the universe is sad because they don't get to see the Cubs win tomorrow. But
the best part about this is they don't play tomorrow, and you still manage to talk about them for probably 5 minutes of that show. We can go to the tape and check it. I would tell you, it's like you managed to talk about the Cubs for 5 to 10 minutes still. So you get a furious head for that. And the chat room does too, because I don't usually pay attention to the chat, but it's been pretty funny tonight.
Chat was solid tonight.
Cracking me up every time I was laughing behind the scenes is because I was reading that and I didn't really know what to say with certain stuff. It was funny as hell. So good job.
You know what? I will point this out, and don't tell my boss this. Hopefully she doesn't watch or anything. Anyway, first thing I do when I get into work in the morning is I check my email just to see if I've got any work-related email. Usually I don't. And if I do, I reply. If I don't, I immediately go to my I read 3 pretty well-respected Cubs blogs a day, read them up, and then I go to work. I actually start doing my work. So I get into work around 7:30, but I don't really ever start doing anything until 8. And that'll be the case again tomorrow. So just let you guys know.
Well, it was a great show, man. I always have a great time, and that was some good info I think we covered. And
It
everybody in the
was good. It was good.
this was a fun show. So bottoms up, man. Sign us out.
It was. And out there in the world, there is a limited amount of Furious hat tips. And I just want to point out, guys, that everybody here received one tonight. And I think I actually got two, so in your face. But anyway, I will let you guys go. We're gonna head out here. Thanks for watching, guys. Somebody will be on tomorrow. I know it's not me, but somebody will be here tomorrow at 8:30 or 8 o'clock or whenever. But anyway, tune in, watch it. Guys will be shouting it out on Twitter. Make sure you're here to watch it. And good luck tomorrow, guys. Take care.